Lyra stood at the edge of the great crystal dome that protected the city of Astrantia. She was the daughter of the High Elder and princess of the Valorian people. Her skin shimmered with a soft blue glow in the light of the 3 moons that hung in the purple sky. Her large silver eyes scanned the stars above, wondering what secrets they held. The Valorians were a peaceful race. They had mastered space travel centuries ago, but rarely ventured beyond their own star system. They believed in harmony with nature and with each other. Their technology was advanced, but they used it only to improve life, not to wage war. Their society had no crime, no hunger, and no disease. They lived long lives, often reaching 500 years. Lyra was different from other Valorians. She yearned for adventure. She wanted to see other worlds, meet other beings, learn their ways. Her father worried about her curiosity. He told her tales of dangerous species who conquered and destroyed. But these stories only made Lyra more interested. Today was special. Today the council would vote on a proposal to send an exploration team to a newly discovered planet in a nearby system. Lyra had fought hard to be included in this mission. She had trained in sciences and diplomacy. She was ready. The great hall of the council was filled with light. The 12 elders sat in a circle, their long robes flowing around them. Lyra stood in the center, her 4 slender arms clasped together in respect. "We have considered your request, daughter of Valoris," said the first elder, his voice gentle but firm. "You are young, only 90 years. You lack experience. I have studied all the records of previous explorations." Lyra replied, "I have mastered 7 languages, including the mathematical tongue of the Zanari. I am ready," the council whispered among themselves. Finally, her father spoke. "You may join the mission, but you will obey Commander Jen in all things. This is not an adventure. It is a scientific expedition." Lyra bowed deeply, hiding her excitement. She would finally see the stars up close. The preparation took 3 cycles of the smallest moon. The ship was loaded with supplies and equipment. The crew was small. Just 6 Valorians, including Commander Jen, a stern female who had led 3 previous missions. She did not approve of the princess joining them, but she could not refuse the council's decision. The night before departure, Lyra stood on her balcony looking up at the stars. Her mother joined her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "The universe is vast, my daughter," she said. "Much larger than our small world. Be careful. Some species do not share our values. They fight over resources. They kill without reason. I will be careful, mother." Lyra promised, "But I must go, I must see." The launch was smooth. The ship rose through the atmosphere and into space. Lyra watched through the viewing portal as her world grew smaller, becoming just another point of light among the stars. Her heart beat faster with excitement. The journey would take 30 days. Their destination was a small green planet orbiting a yellow star. Initial scans showed it had breathable atmosphere and liquid water. Signs of technology had been detected, but at a primitive level. The inhabitants, if any, would likely be pre-industrial. Commander Jen gathered the crew for a briefing. "We observe only," she reminded them. "We do not interfere. We do not reveal ourselves unless absolutely necessary." Lyra listened, but her mind wandered. She imagined meeting new beings, learning their customs, tasting their foods. How different would they be? How similar? The ship entered hyperspace. The stars stretched into lines of light, then vanished, replaced by the swirling colors of the void. Lyra spent hours in the observation deck watching the hypnotic patterns. She practiced the meditation techniques taught by the temple guardians, focusing her mind, preparing for the challenges ahead. 15 days into the journey, alarms blared throughout the ship. Lyra was jolted from sleep. The ship shuddered violently. "Emergency exit from hyperspace, Commander." Jen announced, her voice calm despite the chaos. "Unknown object in our path." The viewing screens showed only darkness. Then a massive shape appeared, a ship larger than any Valorian vessel Lyra had ever seen. Its design was angular, aggressive with sharp protrusions like weapons. "Not Valorian. Not Zanari. Not any species in our records," said the science officer, her voice shaking. The unknown ship emitted a pulse of energy. Their communications system crackled, then a voice spoke in a language none of them recognized. The translation matrix struggled, then produced broken words. Surrender, vessel board. Now, resistance punishment. Commander Jen looked at her crew. Fear showed in their silver eyes. Valorians were not warriors. They carried no weapons. We must comply, she said. We cannot fight. The docking procedure was automatic. Their ship was pulled toward the larger vessel, a metal tube extended connecting the two ships. The airlock opened. 3 beings entered the Valorian ship. They walked on 2 legs, not 4. Their skin was not blue, but a pale pink. Their eyes were small and round. Their bodies were covered in fitted material with markings and symbols. They carried objects that Lyra instantly recognized as weapons. The largest of the 3 removed its face covering, revealing more pink skin and yellow hair. The being spoke again. The translation matrix worked better this time. I am Captain Kate Dawson, of the Earth ship Intrepid. We detected your ship exiting hyperspace. Your signature matched nothing in our database. Identify yourselves. Lyra stepped forward before Commander Jen could speak. I am Lyra, daughter of the High Elder of Valoria. We are peaceful explorers. The human female looked at Lyra with obvious curiosity. Her face showed expressions that Lyra could not interpret. Finally, she spoke. Earth has never encountered your species before. This is first contact protocol. We must ensure you pose no threat to Earth or its colonies. Lyra raised all 4 of her arms in the traditional Valorian greeting of peace. We are scientists, not warriors. We have no weapons. The human captain nodded, then spoke into a device on her wrist. The tension eased slightly. Another human entered the ship. This one carried different equipment. Welcome to human space, said Captain Kate. You will need to come with us for diplomatic processing. Lyra and her crew were escorted through the human ship. The corridors were narrow and angular, so different from the flowing organic design of Valorian vessels. The air smelled strange with metallic hints that made her sensitive nose twitch. Humans moved about with purpose, their movements quick and direct compared to the graceful flow of her people. The Valorians were taken to a large room with a table and chairs. Captain Kate gestured for them to sit, but the seats were designed for beings with 2 legs, not 4. The humans quickly realized the problem and brought cushions instead. Commander Jen remained formal and cautious, but Lyra could not contain her curiosity. She studied the humans with open interest, noting their varied coloring and sizes. Their voices had different tones. Some had fur on their faces, others did not. All wore similar clothing with different markings. Captain Kate spoke to a small device, and another human entered. This one was female with dark skin and hair, pulled back tightly. She carried a different kind of device. This is Dr. Maya Scott, our xenobiologist. Captain Kate explained. She will conduct basic health screenings to ensure we have no cross-contamination issues. The doctor approached Lyra first. Her movements were gentle, but her eyes were intense with scientific interest. She held up a small scanner. May I? The doctor asked, showing unusual respect. Lyra nodded, extending one arm. The scanner hummed. Fascinating. Dr. Maya whispered, your cellular structure, the radiation signature. Completely unique. Lyra found herself relaxing around this human. The doctor reminded her of the scientists on Valoria, curious and respectful. She asked a question of her own. Your species is very diverse in appearance. Why is this? Dr. Maya smiled. We evolved across different environments on our home planet. Natural selection led to adaptations. The concept intrigued Lyra. Valorians had been uniform in appearance for thousands of generations. Their evolution had stabilized. Long ago, more humans joined them. A male with glasses introduced himself as Dr. Alan Young, linguist and cultural specialist. He was particularly interested in the Valorian language and writing system. As the scientists worked, Commander Jen spoke privately. With Lyra, this is not how the mission was planned, she said. We should be observing them, not the reverse. Lyra disagreed. This is better. We learn from each other directly. First contact has happened whether we planned it or not. Captain Kate returned, with another human. This one wore different clothing with more elaborate markings. This is Admiral Laura Wilson. She represents our government. She will discuss diplomatic matters. The Admiral was older than the others, with gray in her hair. Her face showed lines that Lyra guessed came from age. She carried herself with authority that reminded Lyra of the Council, elders on behalf of the United Earth Alliance. "I welcome you to human space," the Admiral said formally. "We have not encountered your species before." This is a significant moment. Commander Jen finally spoke as the mission leader. "We did not intend first contact. Our mission was observation only. We apologize for entering your territory." The Admiral nodded understandingly. Spaces, vast boundaries are not always clear, but now that we have met, we should establish relations. The discussions continued for hours. The humans were particularly interested in Valorian technology. They asked many questions about their hyperspace drive and energy systems. Commander Jen answered cautiously, sharing only basic information. Lyra found herself drawn to Dr. Maya. The human scientist showed her images of Earth, a blue and green world, teeming with life so different from the purple landscapes. "Of Valoria, your world has so much water," Lyra remarked. "Yes, oceans cover most of our planet," Dr. Maya explained. "Our life evolved from the seas. The humans provided food and drink for their guests. The Valorians scanned it with their own devices, then cautiously tasted the offerings. The flavors were strange but not unpleasant as the formal talks continued. Lyra noticed something. The humans were clearly military. Their ship was designed for defense and possibly combat. She saw weapons, though they were not, prominently displayed. The humans moved with discipline and purpose. She realized her father had been right. Some species were more aggressive than Valorians, but these humans were treating them with respect despite their obvious military nature. Admiral Wilson spoke of trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and boundaries in space. Commander Jen listened carefully, promising to relay the information to the Valorian Council. Then alarms sounded throughout the human ship. Red lights flashed. Captain Kate pressed a device on her wrist. "Status report," she demanded. "Unidentified vessels approaching fast," a voice replied. "Energy signatures match. Dracorian raiders. Weapons. Hot." The atmosphere changed instantly. The humans moved with new urgency. Captain Kate turned to the Valorians. "We need to move you to secure quarters. This could be dangerous." Lyra felt fear ripple through her. "Commander." Jen asked, "What are Dracorian space pirates?" Admiral Wilson explained briefly. "They raid ships and colonies, stealing technology and resources. They take prisoners for ransom or worse. We need to protect you." The ship shuddered as something struck it. The lights flickered. "Shields at 80%, a voice announced. 3 Dracorian vessels surrounding us." Commander Jen gathered her crew closer. Their fear was visible. Their society had no experience with violence or conflict. Lyra felt her own hearts racing, but also a strange excitement. Captain Kate spoke quickly into her communicator. "Alert all hands. Battle stations. Prepare countermeasures." The Valorians were led toward a different section of the ship, but as they moved through a corridor, an explosion rocked the vessel. The wall beside them buckled. Smoke filled the air. Lyra was thrown to the floor, separated from the others as debris fell between them. She heard Commander Jen calling for her but could not respond. The human guards were down, injured by the blast. Lyra pulled herself up, disoriented, as emergency systems activated, spraying mist to clear. The smoke, a new alarm, sounded different from before. "Hull breach, intruder alert, Deck 7, Section 4. A mechanical voice announced. Lyra froze as a new figure appeared through the damaged wall. Not human. This being was tall, with scaled skin and a ridged head. Its eyes were yellow with vertical pupils. It wore armor and carried a large weapon. 2 more like it followed. The Dracorians had boarded the ship. The raiders spotted Lyra. One pointed, making sounds in a harsh language. They moved toward her, weapons raised. She backed away, her forearms raised in the Valorian peace gesture. They did not stop. Then a human appeared behind the raiders, Captain Kate. Her uniform was torn and blood ran from a cut on her face. She held a weapon. Unlike the Valorians, she clearly knew how to fight. The captain fired her weapon. A flash of light struck one raider who fell. The others turned toward her. Lyra watched in shock as the human moved with incredible speed, dodging energy blasts from the raiders. Weapons! She fired again. Another raider went down. The third raider lunged at Captain Kate, knocking her weapon away. They fought hand to hand. The Dracorian was larger, stronger, but the human was faster, more agile. Lyra had never witnessed combat before. She stood frozen, watching this display of violence. The raider pinned Captain Kate against a wall. Its clawed hand raised to strike. Lyra knew the human would die. Without thinking, she grabbed a piece of fallen metal and rushed forward, striking the raider from behind. It turned its yellow eyes now fixed on her. Captain Kate used the distraction. She twisted free and with a series of precise strikes brought the raider down. The corridor fell silent, except for the alarms and the captain's heavy breathing. "You saved my life," Captain Kate said, looking at Lyra with new respect. "I don't know why I did that," Lyra stammered. "Violence is not our way. Sometimes we must protect others," the human replied. "Sometimes there is no peaceful choice." More humans arrived, soldiers with weapons drawn. They secured the area. Captain Kate gave orders, then turned back to Lyra. "We need to move. The ship is under attack." "What about my people?" Lyra asked. "Being escorted to the evacuation pods," Captain Kate replied. "But our path is blocked. We need to take another route." Lyra followed the human captain through the damaged corridors. The ship continued to shake as it was hit by enemy weapons. The emergency lights cast everything in a red glow, making the scene even more frightening to the Valorian princess. Captain Kate moved with confidence, checking corners before proceeding, her weapon ready. She spoke into her communicator, getting updates on the battle. Lyra learned that the human ship was fighting back, destroying one raider vessel, but two others continued their attack. They reached a junction where the corridor split in 3 directions. The captain hesitated, checking a display on her wrist. "This way," she said finally. "Through engineering. It's longer, but safer." The engineering section was vast, filled with machinery Lyra had never seen. The great engines hummed with power. Humans worked frantically to maintain systems damaged in the attack. No one questioned the captain's presence or Lyra's. They were too focused on their tasks. Kate led her to a small room filled with screens and controls. "This is auxiliary control," she explained. "We can monitor the situation from here." The screens showed the battle outside. The human ship was impressive, its weapons firing precise bursts of energy at the attacking vessels. But the raiders were nimble, avoiding many hits. Lyra watched in fascination and horror. She had never witnessed space combat. Her people had no weapons on their vessels. They relied on stealth and diplomacy to avoid conflict. "Why do they attack you?" she asked. "They want our technology, our resources," Captain Kate replied, "and they take prisoners to sell as slaves. They attack any ship they think they can defeat." The concept of slavery was foreign to Lyra. Her people had no such practice. The idea of beings owning other beings horrified her. One screen showed humans in smaller vessels fighting outside the ship. They moved with incredible coordination and skill, our fighter pilots, Captain Kate explained with pride. The best in the fleet. As they watched, one human fighter was hit. Its engines failed and it began to drift. The pilot ejected but was now floating in space, vulnerable. Without hesitation, another fighter broke formation, flying directly into danger to retrieve the stranded pilot. They risked themselves for each other. Lyra observed, "We never leave our people behind," Kate said, simply as if this were an unquestionable truth. Lyra thought about her own culture. The Valorians valued harmony and peace above all. But watching these humans fight to protect each other, she wondered if her people had lost something important in their pursuit of perfect peace. The ship rocked violently. A new alarm sounded. "Engine core breach. Imminent," a voice announced. Containment failing, the engineers moved with new urgency. Captain Kate grabbed Lyra's arm. "We need to evacuate now," she said. "The ship is too damaged." They ran through corridors filled with smoke and debris. Other humans were evacuating. Some were injured, being carried by their comrades. No one was left behind despite the danger. Lyra had never seen such loyalty. They reached the evacuation bay. Large pods waited to carry the crew to safety. Commander Jen and the other Valorians were already there. Their relief at seeing Lyra was obvious. The pods launched, escaping the damaged human ship. Lyra watched through a small window as the Intrepid continued to fight, buying time for the evacuation pods to escape. The ship was beautiful even in its last moments, defending its crew against overwhelming odds. The pods reached a larger vessel, a human colony ship that had answered the distress call. The Valorians were brought aboard and given quarters. "Once safe, Captain. Kate found Lyra. All my crew escaped," she said with satisfaction. "Even with the loss of our ship, the mission was a success because we saved our people and yours." The captain was called away to debrief with her superiors. Lyra was left with her thoughts. She had witnessed both the violence humans were capable of and their remarkable courage and loyalty. She had seen them fight not for conquest, but to protect. Later, Admiral Wilson met with the Valorians. Her uniform was crisp, her manner formal despite the recent battle. "The Dracorian threat has been neutralized," she informed them. "2 raider ships destroyed, 1 retreated. You are safe now." Commander Jen spoke for the Valorians. "We thank you for our rescue. But this encounter has shown us that space is more dangerous than our council believed. Our mission parameters were flawed." The Admiral nodded. "Perhaps, but now you have new information to share with your people. Knowledge is valuable, even when it comes at a cost." Lyra stepped forward. "I wish to learn more about humans," she announced. "Your culture, your history, your ways of thinking." Commander Jen objected. "Princess Lyra, our mission is compromised. We must return to Valoria." Lyra stood tall, all 4 arms in a formal posture. "I am daughter of the High Elder. I claim diplomatic authority. I will stay to establish formal relations with these humans. You will return with the others to inform the council." The commander could not override Lyra's authority. Though she disagreed, she had to obey. After discussion, arrangements were made. Commander Jen and 4 Valorians would return home in their ship, escorted by human vessels for protection. Lyra would remain with the humans as the first Valorian ambassador. Before they parted, Commander Jen spoke privately with Lyra. "Your father will not approve," she warned. "These humans are warriors. They fight. They kill. They also protect." Lyra replied, "They risk themselves for others. They have courage. Our people have forgotten. I have much to learn from them and they from us." The Valorian ship departed, leaving Lyra alone among humans. Admiral Wilson assigned Dr. Maya Scott to act as Lyra's guide and cultural interpreter. The doctor was delighted with this duty. Her scientific curiosity about Valorian biology and culture was matched by her patience in explaining human ways. Lyra was given quarters on the colony ship. Freedom. The humans would take her to Earth, their home world. She would be the first Valorian to see the birthplace of humanity. Dr. Maya began teaching Lyra about Earth history. She learned of human conflicts, wars, and violence that would horrify the Valorian Council. But she also learned of human art, music, and philosophy. She learned of their resilience, their ability to overcome disaster and rebuild. The humans in turn were fascinated by Valorian culture, their peaceful society, their advanced biotechnology, their harmonious relationship with their environment. Many humans expressed admiration for what the Valorians had achieved. Captain Kate visited Lyra often despite her duties. The captain seemed drawn to the alien princess, perhaps seeing in her a different kind of strength than her own. They spoke of leadership, of responsibility. Both were daughters of important leaders. Both felt the weight of their people's expectations. "Lyra, I need to ask you something," Captain Kate said during one visit. "Your people have no weapons, no defenses. How have you survived?" "We hide," Lyra admitted simply. "Our ships are designed to be undetectable. Our settlements are concealed. We avoid contact with other species. When discovered, we retreat." Kate considered this. "Your way has kept you safe, but the universe is getting smaller. More species are exploring. Hiding may not work forever. Lyra knew the human was right. The encounter with the Earth ship and the Dracorian raiders had shown the limitations of Valorian strategy. Perhaps, Lyra said slowly, there is a middle path between constant battle readiness and complete pacifism, a way to defend without becoming warlike. Captain Kate smiled. That sounds like wisdom and something both our peoples could learn from. As the Freedom approached Earth, Lyra stood at the observation deck. The blue planet grew larger, filling the view. Its beauty took her breath away. Oceans and continents, clouds and ice caps, a world teeming with life and history. Captain Kate joined her, watching her reaction to seeing Earth for the first time. It's beautiful, Lyra whispered. So different from my world, yet somehow familiar home. Kate said simply, for all humanity. Despite our differences. This is where we began. Lyra felt a connection to this human warrior so different from herself, yet sharing the same wonder at the universe. They stood together looking down at Earth, each seeing it through new eyes. Earth was overwhelming. Lyra had never seen so many beings in one place. The Valorian homeworld had a small population spread across carefully planned cities, each person with a role and purpose. Here on Earth, humans crowded together in vast cities that sprawled across the landscape. Their movements seemed chaotic, their purposes individual rather than collective. Lyra was taken to a place called the Diplomatic Quarter in a city named Geneva. She was given a residence modified for her physiology, with higher ceilings and special cushions for her 4 legs. The air was filtered to remove pollutants that irritated her sensitive lungs. Human officials came to meet her. Some wore formal clothing, others military uniforms. They asked many questions about Valorian society, technology, and intentions. Lyra answered honestly but carefully, following the diplomatic training she had received. She was, after all, the daughter of the High Elder. Dr. Maya remained her constant companion, explaining human customs and translating cultural nuances. The scientist was endlessly patient with Lyra's questions. Why do humans gather in such large numbers? Lyra asked after visiting a market. We are social creatures. Maya explained. We draw energy from each other. Some of our greatest achievements came from random encounters in busy places. The concept was foreign to Valorians who valued order and planning, but Lyra could see the benefits. The creative chaos of humanity had produced remarkable results. Captain Kate visited when her duties allowed. She had been assigned to Earth Defense Command but made time for the alien princess. She seemed to enjoy showing Lyra human culture beyond the formal diplomatic settings. Kate took her to museums where Lyra marveled at human art. So much of it depicted conflict, struggle and pain, but also triumph and beauty. She took her to concerts where the music ranged from delicate harmonies to pounding rhythms that Lyra felt in all 4 of her hearts. 3 months after Lyra's arrival on Earth, news came from Valoria. The Council had reviewed Commander Jen's report. They had debated long and hard about how to respond to the existence of humans. Finally, they had made their decision. They would establish formal diplomatic relations. The High Elder himself, Lyra's father, would travel to Earth. Lyra felt both excitement and anxiety. She had not seen her father in many months. Would he approve of what she had learned? Would he understand her growing admiration for these strange, complex beings? The Valorian diplomatic vessel arrived with great ceremony. Larger than the exploration ship, it carried not only the High Elder, but 12 council members and their attendants. Humans organized a formal reception. The leaders of Earth would meet the leaders of Valoria. Lyra waited at the landing site, her ceremonial robes flowing around her 4 legs. She stood tall and dignified as she had been taught. But inside her hearts raced. The ship landed with typical Valorian grace. No sound, no disturbance. A ramp extended and her father appeared. He was tall even for a Valorian, his blue skin darker with age, his silver eyes deep-set and wise. He moved with the slow, deliberate pace of one who had lived for centuries. Lyra bowed, deeply as protocol required. Father, she said formally, I welcome you to Earth. The High Elder studied her for a long moment, then he did something unexpected. He reached out and touched her face, a gesture of affection rarely shown in public. My daughter, he said, his voice gentle. You have grown. The human officials stepped forward. Admiral Wilson, now representing Earth in the diplomatic proceedings, welcomed the High Elder with carefully rehearsed Valorian greetings. She had clearly been coached by Lyra. The formal meetings began. Human and Valorian leaders discussing potential alliances, trade agreements, and cultural exchanges. The humans were particularly interested in Valorian biotechnology, while the Valorians were fascinated by human art and music. Between meetings, Lyra's father spoke with her privately. You have changed, he observed. Your energy is different. Your thoughts move faster. You speak with new patterns. Lyra nodded. I have learned much from humans. They are not like us, father. They embrace conflict as a path to growth. They seek challenges. They question everything, even themselves. And you find this admirable? Her father asked. I do, Lyra admitted. They are younger than us as a species, more volatile, less stable. But they have a fire we have lost in our pursuit of perfect harmony. Her father was silent for a long moment. Then he said, I feared this would happen when I allowed you to join the mission. You were always different. Lyra, always questioning, always seeking. Does this disappoint you, father? He surprised her again. No, my daughter. It gives me hope. Our people have been unchanging for too long. We risk stagnation in our perfect peace. These humans may offer us something we need. The diplomatic discussions continued for weeks. The humans were surprisingly accommodating, accepting many Valorian conditions without argument. They seemed eager for alliance. Lyra wondered why until Captain Kate explained. The Dracorians are not our only enemies. She told Lyra, there are other species in this sector of space, some far more dangerous. The Krell Empire has been expanding aggressively for decades. They see other species as resources to be used, not as equals. They would view your people's pacifism as weakness to be exploited, Lyra. Understood, then. The humans wanted allies in their ongoing conflicts. They saw value in Valorian technology and resources, but they also genuinely seemed to respect Valorian culture. She had seen this in the way Dr. Maya studied their arts and philosophy, with true appreciation. The negotiations reached their final stages. A treaty was prepared. Both sides made concessions. The humans would help protect Valorian settlements and ships. The Valorians would share certain technologies and knowledge. Both would benefit. The night before the signing ceremony, Captain Kate invited Lyra to a special place, a natural area outside the city called a forest. Lyra had read about forests, but never experienced one. Her world had no equivalent. The variety of plant life amazed her. So many shades of green, so many different shapes and sizes. They walked together under the trees, Kate pointing out birds and small animals, explaining their roles in the ecosystem. The complexity of Earth biology fascinated Lyra. Valoria had been carefully managed for millennia, its ecosystem simplified and controlled for maximum harmony. They reached a clearing beside a small lake. The water reflected the setting sun, casting golden light across the surface. Kate spread a blanket on the ground and produced food and drink from a bag. I wanted you to see this, she explained. This is Earth as it was before our cities, our technology. Just life. Finding its own balance, Lyra sat her 4 legs folded beneath her. She tasted the food, fruit and bread and something sweet called chocolate. She watched small insects hover above the water. Birds called to each other as the light faded. It's beautiful. She said, this chaotic harmony, so different from the designed perfection of my world. Kate nodded. Sometimes the most beautiful things arise from disorder, from struggle. Each plant and animal here competes for resources, yet together, they create balance. Lyra thought about this. It's like your people, she said. Finally, understanding each human follows their own path, yet together, you build something greater. Kate smiled, reaching out to touch one of Lyra's 4 hands. A gesture she'd learned was acceptable among Valorian friends. Exactly. They sat in comfortable silence as darkness fell. Then, Lights appeared, small glowing points floating among the trees. Fireflies, Kate explained, insects that create their own light to attract mates. Lyra watched enchanted. The random patterns of light seemed to dance between the trees. A beautiful chaos. "We'll miss this place when I return home," she said softly. "And I will miss humans." "Miss you?" Kate looked surprised. "You're returning to Valoria when the treaty is signed. My diplomatic mission will be complete." "But I thought," the captain stopped, then started. "Again, I thought you might stay." Become the permanent ambassador. Lyra had considered this. But her father had other plans. "He wishes me to return to share what I have learned, to help prepare our people for closer contact with humans and other species." Kate nodded. "Of course your people need you." Lyra studied the human's face in the dim light. She had learned to read human expressions. Their emotions showed so clearly compared to the subtle cues of Valorians. "You are disappointed," she observed. Kate sighed. Slightly. "Yes, I am. We have become friends. I have enjoyed showing you my world, seeing it fresh through your eyes." Friends. Lyra tasted the word. It meant something different to humans than the formal connections Valorians formed. Something warmer, more personal. "I have never had a friend like you," she admitted. "Most Valorians find me too curious, too questioning. Most humans find me too serious, too focused on duty." Kate replied with a small laugh. They were quiet again, watching the fireflies. Then Kate asked, "Will you come back to Earth someday?" Lyra looked up at the stars now visible in the night sky. "Yes," she said with certainty. "I will return. And perhaps you will visit Valoria one day. We have much to learn from each other." Kate smiled. "And perhaps that's the true purpose of this treaty. Not just protection or technology, but understanding." Lyra felt a strange warmth. Unlike anything she'd experienced before, she had come to Earth expecting to study an alien species. Instead, she'd found connection across the stars, a bridge between worlds so different yet sharing the same universe. The treaty signing the next day was recorded and broadcast across Earth. Humans celebrated this first formal alliance with another spacefaring species. For them, it was historic, the beginning of a new era. For the Valorians, it was even more significant. Their centuries of isolation were ending. They were joining the larger. 3 years passed on Earth. 2 cycles of seasons on Valoria. Lyra had returned to her world with new ideas and perspectives. The council listened to her reports with mixed reactions. Some elders feared the influence of humans with their warlike tendencies. Others saw opportunity in this new alliance. Lyra was given a new role, ambassador of interspecies relations. She worked to prepare her people for increased contact with humans, and eventually, other species. Training programs were established, teaching Valorians about human culture, customs, and history. The alliance prospered. Human ships now protected Valorian vessels and settlements. Several human scientists, including Dr. Maya, came to Valoria to study and share knowledge. They adapted well to the peaceful Valorian society, though some found the strict harmony restrictive. Captain Kate, now Commander Dawson, had been assigned to lead the human military presence in the Valorian system. Her ship, the Defender, maintained a respectful distance, but was always ready if needed. Lyra saw her friend regularly during diplomatic functions. Their connection had deepened despite their differences, or perhaps because of them. Then came the day that changed everything. Lyra was in the capital city meeting with the council when alarms sounded throughout the Crystal Dome. Such alarms had not been heard in living memory. The High Elder called for reports. "A fleet of unknown vessels has entered our system," the security chief announced. "They do not respond to communications. They are approaching rapidly." The council chamber erupted in confusion. Valorians had no experience with invasion. Their defenses were minimal, designed only to protect against natural disasters. Lyra stepped forward. "Father, we must contact the humans. Commander Dawson can help." The High Elder nodded immediately, authorizing the emergency communication. The alliance would be tested sooner than anyone had expected. The unknown ships continued their approach. Scans revealed them to be heavily armed. Their design was unfamiliar to the Valorians. But when images were transmitted to Commander Dawson, she recognized them immediately, Krell warships. She confirmed her face grim on the communication screen. This is not a diplomatic mission, it's an invasion force. The humans had warned about the Krell, an aggressive empire that saw other species as resources to be exploited. Their technology was advanced, their methods brutal. They conquered without negotiation. The Defender moved, to intercept, positioning itself between the Krell fleet and Valoria. Commander Dawson appeared again on the council screens high. "Elder, we stand with our allies," she said formally. "But we are outnumbered. We need reinforcements. I have sent an emergency signal to Earth fleet. But they won't arrive for at least 12 hours. We must find a way to delay the Krell." The High Elder looked to his daughter. "Lyra, you understand humans best. What do you suggest?" Lyra had studied Earth military history, learning strategies and tactics that had been foreign to her people. She had discussed defense scenarios with Kate during their many conversations preparing for this possibility. "We have 3 advantages," she said. "First, the crystal dome can withstand significant attack. It was designed to protect against meteor strikes. Second, our city can be hidden. The refraction technology that makes our ships nearly invisible can be adapted. Third, the humans are skilled in combat tactics. Commander Dawson knows how to fight against superior numbers." The council quickly approved emergency measures. The city shield was strengthened, the refraction technology activated, making the crystal dome and the city beneath it blend with the landscape. Human military advisors from the Defender were brought to the surface to coordinate defense. Lyra worked closely with Kate now on the planet's surface. The human commander had brought a small team of soldiers. They wore armor and carried weapons, but showed respect for the peaceful Valorians. They did not swagger or intimidate. Instead, they worked efficiently setting up detection systems and communication networks. The Krell ships entered orbit. Their sensors swept the surface, searching for the Valorian capital Z. Refraction technology confused them. They detected energy signatures but could not pinpoint locations. Kate watched the sensor readings. "This won't fool them for long," she told Lyra. "They will start landing search parties. As predicted, smaller ships detached from the Krell fleet descending to the surface. They carried soldiers in heavy armor with advanced weapons. The Krell were reptilian with tough scaled skin and powerful builds. Their yellow eyes were adapted to see heat signatures, making them excellent hunters. The first Krell search party landed near the hidden city. They began scanning methodically for signs of the Valorians. Lyra watched their movements from the council tower. "They will find us eventually," she said to Kate. "The refraction technology cannot hide everything." Kate nodded. "We don't need to hide forever, just long enough for Earth fleet to arrive." Her face was calm, but Lyra knew her friend well enough to see the tension beneath. A Krell soldier approached the edge of the hidden dome, its scanners detecting anomalous readings. It reached out a clawed hand, almost touching the invisible barrier. "Now," Kate said quietly. A human soldier activated a device. Small drones previously hidden around the perimeter rose into the air. They emitted energy pulses designed to confuse Krell sensors. The search party turned following the new signals away from the city. The diversion worked temporarily, but more Krell ships were landing. More search parties spreading across the landscape. It was only a matter of time. In the council chamber, the elders debated what would happen when the Krell found them. Should they attempt to communicate to negotiate? Valorians always believed that rational beings could find peaceful solutions. Kate addressed the council with respectful but direct words. "I understand your commitment to peace, but the Krell do not negotiate with those they consider prey. They take what they want by force." The High Elder asked, "What do you suggest?" "Commander, we need to show strength," Kate replied. "A demonstration that taking this world will cost them dearly, that we are not easy prey. But we have no weapons." The Security Elder protested. "We are not warriors. You have technology," Kate said. "Your refraction fields, your crystal engineering, your biological sciences. These can be adapted. Lyra understood what her friend was suggesting. The Valorians would not fight directly, but they could use their sciences in new ways, ways they had never considered. With the Council's approval, Lyra led a team of Valorian scientists and human tactical advisors. They worked rapidly, adapting technologies designed for peaceful purposes. The crystal resonators used in healing were modified to emit disruptive frequencies. The atmospheric regulators were recalibrated to create localized storms. The plant growth accelerators were reprogrammed to create barriers of dense vegetation. Kate organized the few human soldiers into strategic positions. They would not attack directly, but would guide and support the Valorian defenses. 8 hours passed. The Krell search parties grew closer to discovering the hidden city. A large force had begun to concentrate in the area, their scanners detecting subtle anomalies. The Earth fleet was still 4 hours away. The moment came when a Krell commander fired an energy weapon at what appeared to be empty air. The beam struck the invisible dome, creating a shimmer of refracted light. The deception was revealed. Immediately, Krell forces converged on the city. Their ships moved into position above the dome, energy weapons charged. Kate looked to Lyra. Your people are about to experience something they have avoided for centuries. Conflict. Are they ready? Lyra thought of all she had learned on Earth. The human capacity not just for violence but for courage, for sacrifice, for protecting others. What her father had called the fire that Valorians had lost. We must be ready, she replied. The Krell attack began. Energy beams struck the crystal dome. The structure held its material designed to withstand meteor impacts. But the bombardment was relentless. Cracks began to appear. The Valorian Council activated their defensive measures. The modified crystal resonators created fields that disrupted Krell technology, causing weapons to malfunction. The atmospheric regulators generated powerful winds and electrical storms around the Krell landing parties. The accelerated plants grew at impossible speeds, entangling Krell soldiers and vehicles. Kate and her human team coordinated these efforts, their military experience making them effective despite their small numbers. They did not kill if it could be avoided. They disabled, trapped, immobilized. Lyra moved between the council chamber and the defense centers. She translated between human tactical thinking and Valorian technological capabilities. She saw her people rising to the challenge. Their peaceful nature did not make them weak, only different in their approach. The dome continued to crack. Under sustained bombardment, it would eventually fail. The Earth fleet was still hours away. We need more time, Kate said, studying the tactical displays. The Krell have realized our defenses are non-lethal. They're becoming bolder. Lyra had been thinking about something. A Valorian technology never shared with the humans. A project her people had abandoned centuries ago because of its potential for harm. There is one more option, she told Kate hesitantly. Our ancestors developed a resonance wave generator. It was designed to heal planetary damage after natural disasters, but at certain frequencies it can disrupt nervous systems. Kate finished understanding immediately. Non-lethal but incapacitating. Such a device would violate our most sacred principles. The scientific elder protested when Lyra presented the idea. It was locked away, forbidden. The High Elder looked at his daughter. What do you think, Lyra?